This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No. Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. Hello, fellas.
Hello.
I'm your dame hosting the day.
Okay.
Welcome to DBL, as I said. All right, we got some big news on the Kimmel side. Jimmy Kimmel, he's threatening to take Aaron Rodgers to court after he suggested Kimmel might have ties with disgraced financier and convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. All right, let me explain everything, okay? Here's what Aaron Rodgers said on the Pat McAfee show. Watch this.
This has something to do with the Epstein list that came out?
Feels like.
It's supposed to be coming out soon. A lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, are really hoping that doesn't.
Okay, well, Jimmy Kimmel responded, writing, "Dear Bleep, for the record, I've not met, flown with, visited, or had any contact whatsoever with Epstein, nor will you find my name on any list. Your reckless words put my family in danger. Keep it up, and we will debate the facts further in court." What do we think about this?
I love it. I would have just sued him. I think that's the era we're in now. We have gone past kind of just social media barbs at this point. You say that Sandy Hook is, not you, but somebody says pointed at Jeff.
Yeah.
But when people say Sandy Hook is, a false flag, those people are harassed out of their homes for 10 years. These aren't internet jokes anymore. These are real life guys showing up at Nancy Pelosi's husband's house with a hammer kinds of facts. January 6th was planned online by accusations of people doing things to children. So when these things are hurled at you, especially something as disgusting as what Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of doing, I wouldn't have tweeted anything. I would have sent every lawyer that whatever ABC had, including some personal ones, to Aaron Rodgers' place. And we would have just handled it like that. We've seen now that accusations take people's careers away, and this is past like the court of opinion, which we always get caught on. The courts have nothing to do with anything. The social media is the judge, jury, and executioner for your reputation and your career.
Yeah.
But don't you think it was important he said something to defend himself, at least to say something back to Aaron Rodgers?
Sure. Let's not get hung up on Jimmy Kimmel and Aaron Rodgers. I really don't care. They obviously have some internal beef that they're using this story to make it into the news cycle or not. I'm sure Jimmy Kimmel would rather stay out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But let's
You want to dive in?
Let's roll up our sleeves.
Let's dive in. Shall we? Should we do it? All right.
Yes.
So let's talk about this Epstein list, shall we? Just to catch everyone up so we're on the same page here. Jeffrey Epstein was a disgraced financier and convicted pedophile that died of suicide while in jail in New York. This list contains nearly 200 names of people, including some prominent figures linked to him, that were part of some court documents. Previously, they were only known as John or Jane Doe, but a judge ruled that the names could become public by the end of the month. Several of the names potentially on the list, have already been identified in the media, including Bill Clinton, who through a spokesperson confirmed he had flown on Epstein's jet, but said he knew nothing of his crimes. Prince Andrew may be on the list. Another known associate of Epstein includes Donald Trump, as well as Bill Gates. Some big players, all right? What do you think of the list finally becoming public? What does it really mean if a name appears on the list? And I want to be clear, these people associated with him, Epstein, after he was convicted of being a pedophile. That's important.
That's huge.
That's huge.
Very
That's a big
huge.
part of the context.
And the whole thing, this is about politics. Okay, let's just break
Tell me
it
why.
down. The whole thing is going to be defending your guy or gal if you're on the other side. I understand Jeffrey Epstein was a socialite. I understand there are socialites in New York City and you do have to get around. There's a difference between being a socialite and flying on that plane and going to a private island. So let's just separate those now before one of your team names end up on that list. This, for me, is in an effort to take down Donald Trump. The court cases wouldn't do it. He still is leading in the polls. I think this is the last straw. Because no matter what side you are on, pedophilia does not fly.
Right.
With the majority of the country. Let me keep going. You got to crack a couple eggs to make an omelet. In this case, if you're a moron, the eggs are the Bills. You got a Clinton egg, you got a Gates egg, and you're going to make a Trump omelet and try to get him out of office so he cannot run in 2024. That's what I think this list is coming out for. They're already delaying it. One of the Jane Does on the list said she fears for her life in the country that she lives in if her name appears on this list.
Sure.
Where's the fear of the hundreds, perhaps, of children that were being molested on this island? Where's the fear for them? Put that list out. Stop delaying this list. Get that list out there. Stop delaying it. Don't redact it. Let's see who's on that list, and then let's start playing ball.
Well, look, it would have been nice. We could have gotten a handle on this when he was in Florida. Before the
Absolutely.
island. And
Explain what you mean.
He went to jail in Florida when I said he was convicted in Florida. He went to jail, but he was allowed to leave. I believe he only had to report on the weekends, or he could go. It was something that you've never heard of.
Loosey-goosey, right.
They had him in Florida, but instead he was kind of allowed to continue on with what he was doing. These girls were passed along, and it's because they were poor girls in Palm Beach County, and these were super rich people over there on that island in West Palm Beach where I performed over there. That's money that we don't even understand. And the issue is, Jeff, it's bigger than Trump. We're talking about former world leaders. We here in the United States are very focused on us. And there are people, obviously Prince Andrew, I mean, is in a picture with Virginia, correct?
Correct.
So,
There's
I mean, this is a worldwide kind of situation.
And crosses party lines. That's my point I was trying to get to.
Yes.
There are no sides in this.
That's children. That's the biggest thing.
Yes.
Is like, because Clinton has been associated with him for a long time, this would have been the kind of thing that, like, Jim Acosta, who was running things down in Florida, would have. Why didn't he pounce on Bill Clinton, a Republican, trying to make his career? Bill Clinton is sitting there dead to rights. Why wouldn't he make a move on him? Because it's bigger than Republicans and Democrats. I don't think this list can come out because it would implicate so many people, including the guy that basically invented the computer, that I don't think we as a people have the capacity for what this is, but I think this is light years bigger than Trump.
And let's not forget what happened to Jeffrey Epstein, the man who's supposed to be the most protected person in jail. 2 guards fall asleep and he dies by suicide with really weird circumstances with all those bed sheets. Someone big enough could get to the top of New York, in my opinion, reportedly, and get to Jeffrey Epstein. That is
Think about when
the top
go ahead,
of the top.
please.
No, I mean, I've talked about this I've been waiting for this.
Yeah.
Because the
It's your
cover-up is
JFK.
real and everyone thinks it's like, it's a conspiracy theory and none of these things happen. They're proven. Watch Filthy Rich and you'll get a better idea. It's Jeffrey Epstein's documentary on Netflix. I forgot the guy's name, and I don't want to say anyone's name because I got it wrong, but he was in Trump's cabinet, and he's the one who let him go in Florida. Jeffrey Epstein was in jail.
That was Jim Acosta.
Yeah, was it Jim Acosta? I want to make sure I get the name right. Left Jeffrey Epstein's door open at the prison. So all he had to do was come back at night and sleep in there. That was Jeffrey Epstein's punishment. Yeah. That's real, and that's our government. So you could say it's conspiracy theory all you want. That really happened.
Yeah. Alarm bells are ringing, people. Coming up on DBL, our interview with Jeopardy host Ken Jennings. He's telling us all about the latest celebrity edition of the show. And Lizzo shows off her slimmed down figure as the speculation over celebrity Ozempic use continues. Does it really matter how someone loses the weight?
Facts around. We're going.
I want to make sure
hard.
the name was right because he's the guy who retired. Is that the guy who retired from Trump's cabinet?
No doubt Jamie Dimon.
Oh yeah, not Jim Acosta. That's the CNN reporter.
It's what?
Alex.
Okay, we're live.
What is it?
Live.
Alex Acosta. Okay.
No doubt Jamie.
And he was what was his title in Florida?
We're rolling live.
So
I don't know, but why don't we at the top of the next?
Yep,
act,
we'll
just
fix that
briefly
for
say
sure.
We just wanted to
For
correct
sure.
the name we threw out. It was
For
Alex
sure.
Acosta, not Jim Acosta.
That's right.
The what is it? District attorney? Just a U.S. attorney. Okay. Someone else is saying Jamie Dimon, head of JPM
wasn't he
Chase,
the head of it?
will be on that list as well. What's also interesting is if Bill Clinton's not on that list, they say that this is definitely we can tell who's in charge. at that point. Jennifer says everyone's waiting for the list. We know everyone will never be revealed. I'm more interested in the politicians versus the celebs, honestly. I am too. I think I am too.
What do you think it'll ultimately mean? I think it'll just be like a scarlet letter. I don't know if there's any like prosecution or any kind of.
I don't know. Can I tell you something?
What could you prove if somebody? I mean, obviously it's a bad look, but what could you prove in court?
Nothing.
Right.
But I will tell you this. I lived in D.C., grew up in D.C. during the Clinton era. Clinton's number one thing, Bill Clinton, and Hillary, but most important to Bill Clinton, is his legacy and his ego. He is so enraptured with what he will be remembered for, that if this brings him down in the court of public opinion, it will bring him down mentally. So it doesn't matter if it's a court thing, this will ruin him if he's on that list, in my opinion. His ego is so fast. Welcome back to DBL. Lizzo is showing off her new slimmed down figure. Check this out. I feel weird saying that. Check this out. Here she is. She started off the new year posting this video to Instagram. She's modeling her brand's latest line of shapewear, looking noticeably slimmer. Speaking of weight loss, a woman wrote into an advice column revealing she's recently lost 45 pounds after her doctor prescribed her Ozempic. But here's the thing. She doesn't want to reveal to her friends and family how she lost the weight because they've made judgmental comments about it in the past, about people who use weight loss drugs. So, should she have to be honest? So basically all of this is to say, do people think less of people who use weight loss drugs? And also, why do we care if Lizzo used it or not? It's none of our beeswax.
I think
back off.
That's the most important part. What do you think, Jeff?
I don't understand this whole craze of like, tell me whether you did or didn't.
It's because it's a shortcut. People think you took a shortcut.
But I don't care if you need a kick in the pants for 2024 or any time in your life because you don't feel good. Take it. Use science a little bit. Here's my problem with it. I'm going to take it somewhere else. When I try to promote a healthy lifestyle and I'm trying to work on myself, I need to lose 10 to 15 pounds, perfectly honest with everybody. When you try to promote a healthy lifestyle, you get blamed for fat shaming other people. Lizzo is the one claiming big is beautiful, but yet she has her own slim down line and the one losing weight without pushing a healthy lifestyle. But she said fatness is still, that's her words, not mine. Fatness is still part of my lifestyle or whatever. You can't have it both ways. You can't be for the people and then make money over here. If you're going to be for the people, promote your healthy lifestyle. Say, this is what I'm doing. I was the face of this, but now I'm moved on to this because I'm concerned about my health. Nobody's shaming anybody. Do what you want. If you want that option, if you can't have that option, that's a different story. But if you want to change your lifestyle, promote a healthy lifestyle. Don't hide behind and use... I don't know. I'm going too far now. The Epstein thing got me all worked up.
Do you think it's hypocritical of Lizzo to slim down while promoting big body positivity?
Well, the bottom line with Lizzo, and I think what initially made people gravitate towards her was her honesty. So if she is going to use these drugs, I mean, I remember Dr. Coley sitting here when we first kind of started hearing about Ozempic, and she was saying this is about, preventing people, obesity leads to other things, heart disease, your high cholesterol. And so if Lizzo's like, I'm using this so I can prevent those things from happening to me later, or because I want to look better, or both, I think that's fine. But because of the army that she has behind her and the people that really listen to her and really look up to her, I do think she does have some obligation to say, this is how I am doing it, so that either you can ask your doctor about it, or maybe you say this is not for me, or this is definitely for me. But understanding that, with much power, with much privilege comes a lot of power. I don't know if I said that.
Much power comes great responsibility.
Great responsibility. Yeah. I think that she does bear some responsibility because she has been a beacon of hope for a lot of people, and I think she should continue to lead them with honesty.
Yeah, and you can't write in quotes that I'm not trying to escape fatness. You can't use that while promoting a brand that slims you down and you're trying to get in shape. You can't promote both.
You find it too hypocritical.
You're trying to be a healthy lifestyle, but you're promoting I'm not trying to escape fatness and still trying to be cool about it. I don't know. I understand 3 years ago that was cool, and I'm going to get shamed for it, probably still now, but I'm not down with that in 2024.
She's tied her brand to it, so it's very difficult for her to let go of that.
It is. Real quick, we want to make a quick correction. It wasn't Jim Acosta. It was Alex Acosta, who is a U.S. attorney in Florida. We'll be right back.
The unfortunate thing of children's games is if you're a predator, you now know where to go.
Child sex trafficking. This is the fear one mom had after finding out about a feature on the popular game Roblox. There's a biometric location tracking option on the game, making players' addresses vulnerable to being revealed. Other parents are now on edge and want to know if this is an actual setting. So let's verify. Can someone find you through Roblox with this feature? Our source is Joseph Scaramucci, Director of Law Enforcement Engagement for the organization Skull Games. Scaramucci says he has not seen or heard of this feature on Roblox, but parents need to remember anything on the internet can be tracked if the right information is given up.
Even talking about what city they're in, it's interesting what we can find if I just start picking away at little clues in communication with you. Many times I can pin down exactly where your house is. So even though you're not providing the home address, if you're providing enough detail about your life, it's really not that hard anymore to do that.
Scaramucci advises parents to be mindful of the chat feature on Roblox.
I would kill the chat feature, just turn it off. If they are on it, I would obviously be monitoring that and knowing exactly who they're talking to.
That's why it's important to monitor your child, because any app can be dangerous.
Does inappropriate thing happen on Roblox? Of course it does. It does on any platform that touches the internet. But I don't know that there are any more bad actors on Roblox than there are any other site.
So we can verify you can find someone through any app, but there is not a confirmed setting where your exact location can be revealed on Roblox.
By no means is Roblox a giant sex trafficking, scheme for kids. It's just not.
Welcome back to DBL. Ken Jennings was a 29-year-old computer programmer from Utah before he made history on Jeopardy. Now he's hosting the iconic show and testing the knowledge of some of your favorite celebrities. Earlier we spoke with them. Take a look.
Please welcome back to the show, Ken Jennings. Yes.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
Good to see you. We are doing so good. Welcome back. So it was recently announced that Mayim Bialik will not be continuing as a host of the show. So what is the pressure like hosting this legendary show, and how does it feel to be the only host of Jeopardy now?
I was surprised. I can't really speak to Mayim's side of this, but on my part, I just feel like at the end of the day, I'm a big fan of Jeopardy. Like, I've always thought of myself as a fan of the show. I'm still the 10-year-old kid running home from school to watch Alex Trebek host. And it's just been such an honor to be part of the show for the last 20 years on and off. And when they need me to host, I will be there. It's an institution for people. We know the audience relies on Jeopardy in their lives, and we want to give them that kind of stability.
Well, you definitely deserve it. You're quick, you're very witty, you're obviously very smart, but definitely earned the role. So when you host Jeopardy, you talk to everyday people, right? So how is it different hosting with celebs? Do you need to stop yourself from maybe answering the question for them once in a while or giving them a little nudge?
No, they're very good at the game. The hard part is just not fanboying all over these folks because, on a regular Jeopardy, my job is kind of to talk them down. I know you folks are nervous, but this is going to be fun. I've done it many times. If you're going to do great, I got your back. The celebs don't need any of that. They're very comfortable on camera. I'm the one who's like, oh, wow, that's Kira Sedgwick. Like, she's the closer. Like, let's see how this goes.
That really humanizes you because, with this show, everybody's cool for some guests, but there's going to be one that gets you where you're like, I love you. Here's my question. Yeah. So I will say this. We're all big fans of you over here. And you won 74 games on Jeopardy before you became a host. So I want to know, does that ever go away? Do you miss competing on the show?
The great thing about hosting is you kind of feel like you're playing along. A clue will come up and I'll be like, ooh, I know this one. Let's see who gets it. So I kind of feel like I'm part of the game. And the great part about being the host is, for the ones you don't know, they give you the answers on a piece of paper now. So the pressure is off. I'm getting a little bit older. I'm probably not as sharp at Jeopardy as I was 20 years ago. And I'm very happy to have the correct responses in front of me now, like Alex used to.
I'm sure you're just as sharp.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're just fine.
Do you want to have a little trivia contest? You'll win.
I'll show you what not sharp looks like.
Okay, so what advice do you have for people who want to break your Jeopardy record? How should someone prepare to be on the show and do just that?
First of all, I think it can be done. Like, somebody's going to break the record someday, and I hope I'm hosting when it happens, because I'm going to be more excited than anybody. The best prep for Jeopardy is, first of all, just watch the show. You're going to get into the rhythms of the host's voice. It'll help you with your timing. You're going to see all the stuff we ask about over and over, the world capitals and the opera and the Shakespeare and the music and whatever it is. And the other thing is just kind of, this is what I tell contestants every taping. I know you're nervous, but just try to let go of that. Just try to enjoy the fact that you're here on your favorite show. You're going to make better memories, and you're going to play better. I think people are just too tense when they go on Jeopardy.
I get tense with Celebrity Jeopardy just because sometimes I feel like they feel more pressure to get it right than the average person because they don't want to get like annihilated on Twitter or X, you know? But who would be your dream Celebrity Jeopardy panel?
Ooh, that's a great question. I mean, it would be great to have like geniuses of the past on Jeopardy. You know, would Albert Einstein be good at Jeopardy? Like someday we're going to get to the point where we can clone, you know, Albert Einstein or Marie Curie or Ben Franklin or whoever, and just see who in the past would have been the best Jeopardy player. Buddha? Is Buddha a good Jeopardy player? Only one way to find out.
That is the most Ken Jennings answer I have ever heard, ever.
Yeah. See, my comedic mind instantly went to, they would be terrible with pop culture. Like they would, yeah, they would, yeah. I don't think the Buddha would like know who Taylor Swift is dating. Anyway.
No, you give him you sit down the Buddha in front of E! Online or whatever, and you give him some chance to catch up.
Right, exactly.
As you do, yes. Now, I want to ask you, did any celebrities just surprise you with their myriad of knowledge?
Yeah, like for the most part, they overperform, I think. You know, because we're so used to the SNL joke about how Celebrity Jeopardy is very easy. But that's not true at all. Like, this is legitimate Jeopardy stuff that these folks have to respond to. And funnily enough, you know, take somebody like Lisa Ann Walter. She's on Abbott Elementary. She's a comedian. You think she's going to be like her goofy character. But in fact, comedians are like super quick and smart. You know, she's done years and years of stand-up. She's had to deal with hecklers. You know, she's very good at coming up with the exact right thing to say at the right time. And that's kind of a Jeopardy skill as well. You know, the same with athletes. They've got to be in the moment in the game and turn that game face on. And sometimes those skills carry over to Jeopardy, too.
Thank you so much for visiting with us, Ken. DBL Nation, do not miss Celebrity Jeopardy on ABC and streaming on Hulu. Thank you again. We'll be right back. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Congrats on the gig, man.
Frigid winter temperatures are here, and with record high energy prices, you might think twice before cranking up the heat. So we looked into some common questions about whether things people do to stay warm are really a hot idea. First up, does turning your thermostat way up heat your home faster? Our sources are the U.S. Department of Energy, the Environmental Protection Agency, Black Hills Energy, and HVAC maker Glen Dimplex. Furnaces have just two settings, on and off. They rely on a thermostat to know how long to stay on. Cranking the temperature up from 60 to 70 will only make your furnace run longer, but it won't heat your home any faster because it only has one setting, on, whether it's trying to increase the temperature 1 degree or 10 degrees. So no, turning the thermostat way up won't heat your home any faster. Next up, can window treatments help save you money? The Energy Department estimates in an average home, 1/3 of heat is lost through the windows. You can prevent some of that from happening by keeping the drapes or shades closed at night because they act as an extra layer of insulation between your home and the windows. This helps keep up to 10% more heat inside your home, which can lower your energy bill. So, yes, window treatments can help save you money. Finally, ceiling fans are a great way to stay cool, but can they also help keep your home warm? In the summer, you should set your fans to rotate counterclockwise to blow air down. This helps sweat evaporate and makes you feel cooler. In the winter, the Energy Department recommends reversing your fan so it spins clockwise and then using the lowest setting. This pulls up the cool air and displaces warm air that's near the ceiling. So, yes, ceiling fans can help keep your home warm.
As a parent, you never want to see your kids get sick, and the flu, while not a new virus, still has some local parents on social media warning about a scary side effect. They say their kids experience paralysis after getting influenza. So is this true? Can the flu cause paralysis? Let's verify.
Our sources are the CDC and Novant Health lead clinician Epstein. While the flu season is active in January, the CDC says it really spikes in February. Epstein says that's why you need to make sure your vaccinations are up to date.
It is the time to get vaccinated against COVID, against the flu. It's the time to get vaccinated against RSV if you are in that age category.
If someone does catch the flu, Epstein says one of the possible side effects could be paralysis. The first signs, Epstein says numbness and tingling in your feet.
So you begin to feel, from the toes and then the legs and maybe the thighs, the hip and things like that.
But Epstein stresses that paralysis from the flu or any other viral infection is incredibly rare.
Good thing is that it's a very rare condition.
And if this does happen to you or a loved one, he says most times it's temporary.
Within several weeks to a couple of months, they will recover completely with no lasting effect.
But still, he says now is the time to practice healthy hygiene and make sure you are following guidelines for preventative care.
Washing your hands, simple things as hand washing, as regular as possible.
So we can verify that yes, a flu can cause temporary paralysis, but doctors say it's very rare and usually temporary. With your Verify, I'm Megan Brad.
Welcome back. Last year brought us many new health trends in diet and exercise, and some of them are so good, we want to keep them going in 2024. So it's time for some joint and muscle support brought to you by Omega XL. First up, assisted stretching. We spend nearly half of our days sitting down. Make 2024 the year you see a physician or chiropractor for your flexibility. Next, collagen peptides were all the rage in 2023, and for good reason, with the way they can improve hair, skin, and joint health. And finally, micro workouts. Don't stress about getting a solid 20 minutes when you can do 1 minute of jumping jacks here or 5 minutes of squats there throughout the day. Omega XL has improved the lives of millions of consumers, supported by 30 years of clinical research. Omega XL's powerful and proven benefits have transformed the lives of athletes, celebrities, and dedicated daily users. So call 1-800-814-6985 or visit omegaxl.com for more information. Few little comments.
I was just going to say, take it easy with the 5-minute squats.
I know.
I'm doing squats, 100 of squats, air squats.
Can you
every
not,
day.
Move?
I can't walk.
You can't walk.
I can't walk. So 5 minutes of squats. Start with
like
5.
Start
with 5 squats.
I want to see you walk all.
Sorry, yeah.
Jeff walks off. Hey there.
Well,
okay. Jennifer Ann speaks about celebrities and Ozempic. Take whatever helps, she says. Just don't lie to your fans that you did it all in the gym and cutting calories. Much of what you were saying. Megan says, I like how Oprah said she used it. So we'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Yeah.